take your seats for our final show here on Rotunda Stage today. Have you all enjoyed the festival today? Yeah? That makes me very glad to hear. Wonderful. Well, my name is Elaine. I am the Education and Community Engagement Coordinator here at Overture Center. Before we begin, I would like to thank Quartz Benefits for their generous support of this festival. If you would also like to help Overture continue to provide extraordinary experiences, we encourage you to donate if you're able. You can do that up in the lobby by visiting overture.org/donate or by dropping a buck or two in our Lego donation box at the back of the room. We also accept baby socks, apparently. Alrighty, my friends, without further ado, please help me to welcome Last Gaspe.
Last Gaspe. My name is Lauren Jacobus, and this is John Graniak over here on the guitar. And today we are going to be playing a wonderful mix of Scottish, Irish, American, tiny bit of bluegrass and Canadian music. And I have to say, you guys are amazing at clapping. I was going to ask you guys, but you guys have already been so wonderful and proud.
Sounds like a G. So, we'll try this. So, the tunes we played, did you mention what those were? We started with a tune called Fingal's Cave, which is a great sea cave on the island of Stafford in the Inner Hebrides. And Mendelssohn actually paid a visit there in the 1820s and ended up writing a beautiful piece of music called the Hebridean Suite. Then we went to what's called the Strauss play, which was the Air Granters, and ended with a great Scottish reel called Loch Leyden Castle. Mary Queen of Scots was actually held prisoner there in the 1500s.
Only this year have I actually started to learn Scottish tunes, and I put together this set unbeknownst to me that it is a very traditional Scottish thing to have what is called March Raspe Reel, or MSR for short. And I told my Scottish fiddle teacher what I did, and she was like, "Oh, that's a very common Scottish set to put together. Well done." And I did something for once.
There you have it. So we got a song, and the song is called Renard. Renard was a fox, but not just any ordinary fox. You may have heard of a werewolf. Well, Renard was a werefox. One evening as I rambled among the leaves of green, I overheard a young woman converse with Renard. Her hair was black, her eyes were blue, her lips were red as wine, and he smiled to gaze upon her in that sly old Renardine. "Kind sir," she said, "be civil, my company forsake, for in my good opinion, I fear you are some great." "Oh no," said he, "no rake am I, caught up in Venus' train, for I'm searching for concealment out on the lonesome plain." "Your beauty so enticed me, I could not pass it by, so it's with my gun I'll guard you out on the mountain high." "And if by chance you should look for me, perhaps you'll not be fine, for I'll be in my castle, inquire for Renardine." Sun and dark she followed him, his teeth did brightly shine, and he led her over the mountains to that sly old Renardine. One evening as I rambled among the leaves so green, I overheard a young lady converse with Renardine. That last piece was a classic Irish reel called Lucy Campbell, a great Irish fiddler, the dean of Irish fiddlers. Michael Coleman recorded that back in the 1930s.
And all right, this next set we are going to be doing is a set of 3 Irish jigs. The first one I actually wrote. There's a tiny bit of a fun story behind this. So in the world of Irish music, there's a competition called the Fla. Now in Gaelic, that translates to the Feast of Music. And I was in a competition for tune writing, and I went and I really, really wanted to write an Irish reel for this. And I wrote 2 different reels, both in absurd keys, and my fiddle teacher told me that they were too Scottish. So I went with a very simple jig instead, and I did win first place.
Wow.
And so this is the Butterbeer Jig, it's the first tune.
Winner, if anybody knows what that is.
It's in the Maid at the Spinning Wheel, which I also played at the Fla, and lastly it is ended with the Castle Jig.
That sounds halfway decent. impress you. Something in 6'8". You're a great audience. So those tunes were, again, Butterbeer Jake, Meet at the Spinning Wheel, and Castle Jake. And now we're going to do a song from Newfoundland, as I like to pronounce it, or Newfoundland, as some people do. Did you know that Newfoundland, or Newfoundland, is 2.5 hours off our time? It's half hour off. And there was a preacher in Canada who was preaching a gloom and doom sermon. And he said, for those of you that have been to Canada, you may know this one. He said, the world is ending tomorrow at noon, a half an hour later in Newfoundland. So here we go. This is called She's Like a Swallow. This is probably the best known Newfoundland folk song. She's like a swallow that flies so high. She's like a river that never runs dry. She's like the sunshine on the shore. Loves her love, but she'll love no more. Down in the garden, this fair Maywell, to pluck the lovely brim of rose. The more she plucked, the more she pulled, till she got her apron full. Then out these flowers she may have had, and stowed the pillow was o'er her head. She laid her down, the word she spake, and this poor maid's heart did break. She's like a swallow that flies so high. She's like a river that never runs dry. She's like the sunshine on the lee shore. She loves her love, but she'll love no more. Thank you. Now we got her. Laura's going to introduce this one.
Alright, so next we're going to have one of my absolute favorites to play, the chicken reel. And when I was younger, like maybe 5 to 6 years ago, I did not know this tune. However, my siblings, me and my siblings are a band, they knew the tune. And so I got to be the one that danced like a chicken and threw plastic eggs everywhere where we played the chicken reel. So we have the chicken reel into the Red Hood Boy.
Red Haired Boy is in Irish too. International Festival. And thank you to the Overture for having us back. I've been doing this thing a long time. I actually performed in the first one back in 1981. I haven't been in all of them, but I've been in a lot of them, so thank you again, Overture. Okay, we got a song coming up now. This is I guess they call this an American one. It's called The Cuckoo. Yes, right, my full pockets of the silver and gold. Well, for working, I'm too lazy and a begging. That's too low. Well, train robbing, that's too dangerous. So again, I'll go. I'm going down the mountain, gonna build me a still. And to send you 1 gallon for a $2 bill. Well, get home down Cuba. In Spain, and I bet you $5 that I'll beat you their next game. Well, eat, well, hooray, Lord, I drink when I'm dry. This woman, she don't kill me, then I'll live till I die. And cuckoo, she's pretty bird, yes, she warbles as she flies. Yes, she brings us glad tidings, Lord, she tells us no lies. Thank you, Last Gaspe, Orange Jacobus on the amazing fiddle.
And Mr. John Kraniak on guitar.
Thank you.
This last one is called Texas Gals.
success. We hope you had fun today. There are a few more things that'll go until 5 o'clock, so if you haven't made your rounds, now's the time. That's all we have for you here on Rotunda Stage. Thank you, and we'll see you